and the photos of your flight, uh, and that's really cool. What'd you think?
Oh my goodness, it's amazing. It is way better than like a airport flight. Like, where did I go to? I went to New York a couple weeks ago before graduating, like 2 or 3 weeks before graduating, and going off in a small plane, you can't even feel it. Like when you're going a bigger plane, they're like you can feel it in your chest. At least I can. And when we
Right.
were going up in the air, you can't feel it. We were doing some turns that Loki kind of scared me a little bit. Then we did some barrel rolls, but it was really really fun.
Wow, barrel rolls, man.
So I got really lucky. So not too far from my 5 minutes from my neighborhood, there's this neighborhood called Eagle's Nest, and everybody has a hangar in the back of their house. It's a like a yeah, it's an airport neighborhood. I don't know what it's called, but I was knocking on doors because I really wanted to get up in the air before the year was over. I went to this neighborhood, parked my car at the very end, knocked on everybody's door all the way until I met this guy, and he was like, "You got a second?" He was like, I was like, "Okay, hi, my name is Mitchell. My goal is to get up in the air, blah 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 blah." He was like, "I actually got a second. You want to check out my hangar?" I prayed in my head real quick, God, please don't let this man kill me. And walked into the hangar, and he showed me he has two planes. The plane we went on was an experimental one. I don't remember the name or the stuff about the plane, but I
Mhm.
talked to him for like 2 hours that day. Then a couple days later, he texts me. He's like, "So what are you doing on the 31st?" I was like, I always have time to get up in the air, and yeah,
Yes, for sure. That's way cool.
in honor of you, man, you inspired it. Like,
Well, yeah, but I've not done anything like that, rolling planes over and stuff. But yeah, cool.
but still though, you inspired me wanting to get up in the air when you would talk about it in class. So just like, okay, this is my goal for the end of the year. And I got really really lucky because he used to be a flight instructor at the Air Force, and even his
Oh wow.
even his neighbor, his name is JJ. They were like, we saw JJ when we were in the air, and JJ, like, we flew closer to him and whatnot. And he was like, would you be down to do some Air Force maneuvers? I was like, this is your plane. Take me wherever you want to take me. So
Oh
it was
wow.
really, really fun. It was really cool. I think I might get that fly bug. I don't know. Every time I see this plane fly over my house, I'm like, again, again, again. So
Well, it is the coolest thing probably I've ever done. It's very expensive. Did he charge you?
he did not. He did not.
Wow.
I really, really
Wow.
kind guy. He took me, he took me through like the safety precautions. First, he showed me everything in his plane. We went through the checks. Then he like showed me his like he has a book, his flight book, and I
Yeah.
think he tries to fly as often as he can, but because he was telling me right now, there's a place called Midway, and they charge like six something for gas, right? And this other place, which is in Ennis is not too far from us, and they
Hmm.
charge $4.47, which is like he prefers to go there instead of Midway. But he
There
didn't
you go.
charge me. He showed me his like flight log book. He showed me everything. That he even let me like fly his plane.
Awesome.
He took
That's
his
awesome.
hands off me. He was like, "Mitchell, now it's your turn." I was like, "Oh, okay, wow." So
It's a and you just kind of want to keep going back to it and doing more and more and more. Um, yeah, I told you my dad was Air Force, and so part of my uh, reason for doing this was to pay tribute to him, to honor my dad's memory, and I did it. So I did it for me, but I also did it for him. So it was cool.
absolutely. When did you
Yeah.
take your first flight? Do you remember how old?
Well, my first flight was with my dad and a flight instructor. I think it was the three of us, and it never bothered me. Some people just freak. My mom hated it. So it's just, I don't know. For me, it was just kind of a natural, normal thing. My dad was cool with it. So if he's not scared, why should I be scared?
Yeah.
And, uh, but, yeah, you got to have some of this if you're going to get into flying.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for sure. Cause like,
Cool.
yeah, his list showed me how often he'll fly, and I was doing the math. I was not trying to pocket watch or anything. I was like, But he also works at a defense contract company, and he was a colonel in the Air Force.
Wow. Wow.
So
Cool.
I think he's not lacking in the guapo.
Well, but what do you want to talk about?
So again, thank you for letting me interview you or just have this random conversation for my random subscribers. But I'm always inspired when we talk and giving me direction. Mitchell, don't do that. You making fun of me and I'm making fun of you. But also like I'm very inspired by your journey and how unapologetically you are with your faith. So sometime
Mhm.
throughout this conversation, we're going to talk about that. I just
Okay.
think the life is a story of becoming, right? You
Right.
have more experience than me, so, but I do still think you're becoming, right? It's not that one day you're like, oh, I have it all figured out. So I just want to start off with like, how was, what was your earliest memory in Midland, Texas?
Well, I think before I go there, about getting to a place where you have it all figured out, I think you get to a place where you realize you don't know anything. You kind of think I know a lot, a little more, 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 more. Then you get to be about my age, and you realize I don't know a thing. It's nothing. I don't got. I got nothing. So that's kind of where I'm at. We moved to Midland when I was like 5 years old, and we it was my mom and my dad, myself and my three sisters lived in a little house there, and just a cool neighborhood with kids running around all over the place. My father's cousin was the preacher at a Methodist church down the street, and my cousins lived around the corner. Um, and so, a lot of my early memories are hanging with my cousins and going to church where I called him my uncle was the preacher. Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesdays, everything, and then over
Sounds
to
like
their
mine.
yeah. My mom stayed home with us, and it was just a good life. I think running around, you know, um, outdoors a lot, so it was good.
Another thing you said earlier is, you started flying as a tribute to your dad, Air Force and whatnot, right? What is
Hmm.
your earliest positive memory and also earliest like, whoa, my dad, I can't really like, I have to follow what he says. Like, what's your earliest good memory and your earliest like bad memory, if that makes sense?
Of my dad?
Yeah, like, was your dad strict growing up? Was your dad more loose? Because you're pretty laid back. Like,
Oh no, my dad was. Um,
we get photos. Hey,
so you want to go back?
yes, I want to go
I don't know.
back.
I don't know if you can see this or
Oh,
not.
we can see it. We can see it. Your dad's a good looking dude.
That's my dad and
And
me.
that's baby you.
That's baby me.
How many years ago was
Oh
this?
gosh, that was 60, 60, 65 years ago. I don't know,
Oh,
but
wow.
I'm named after my dad. Are you named after your dad?
So my dad's name is Nicholas Lawrence, and my name is
Mhm.
Mitchell Nicholas. But
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
I'm a junior. I'm going out of order here. Um, when I got married, my dad was my best man at my wedding, and
Okay, I'm gonna write that down.
and
I have to lock in with my pops.
so he was he's a man of few words. He wasn't really physically affectionate. He didn't go on about this or that. He didn't, he's just a guy, just doing his thing, and he didn't say much, but when he said it, you listen to him. I don't know. He and I were real tight. He was a CPA. He had an accounting firm, his own accounting firm. When I got my wife Virginia and we moved back to Midland after my first daughter was born, and I went to work for him. I worked for him for about 3 years, and he's pretty solid, dude. So I love him dearly, and the older I get, the more respect I have for him because you really start to realize just how hard life is. It's very, very difficult, particularly if you love people and you're trying to take care of people. So it's not just about you. It's a whole thing about family. And so when you're devoted like he was to us, even though he wasn't very expressive. Now I see he worked his rear off. He was gone all the time because he was working all the time. Um, and But one of the things I remember when I was younger, I mentioned I had three sisters. My dad and I had golf as our thing.
Okay.
He bought me a set of golf clubs when I was probably, I don't know, third grade or fourth grade. And he and I used to go do that. So on the weekends, he'd ask me, of course, I'd always say yes. You want to go play golf? Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, um, and then we'd watch some TV and different things. So, but that was something he and I had that really, in a way, was just me and him versus my dumb sisters.
No, I
So,
understand.
my what was and the bad thing?
Yeah, what was like something I was like, whoa, okay, I can't mess around with this.
Oh well, our house when I was probably, I don't know, 5 6 years old, was at the end of the street, and the street that we were next to was busy, relatively busy in terms of traffic. And my dad said, don't go out in the street, meaning the big street, that street. And so one day, I guess we were playing ball or something, and again, I'm probably 5 or 6, and the ball rolls out into the street. Think of maybe 4 lanes, so
Oh
whatever.
wow,
It's not like Dallas busy, but it's a bit busier, right?
it's busy.
And I went out chasing the ball out in the street, and I got across the street, started coming back, and I don't think I almost got hit or anything, but there was a car that had to stop, and I looked up and I saw my dad. He got on my sister, so this is a kid's bike. He got on my sister's bike coming towards me, and I was like, "Oh crap!" So he gets to me. He puts me on the back of the bike. Back when they had saddlebag baskets,
Yeah, 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 I know what you're talking about.
I'm sitting on the back. He grabs me, puts me on the back of the bike. We head back to the house. Takes me back in the bedroom. Pulls his belt
Yeah,
out.
you were spanking.
Whips me good. Man, that was one whipping that I think the only one really I got, and I know why he was doing it. You know, he loved me, and he was trying to teach me something to protect me. He told me, and I didn't listen. So maybe this is what we got to get you to do. So, but no, when that belt came out, and it was for real, man. I don't know if you get
Oh for
whipping.
sure. Oh for
Yeah.
sure. Oh for
So,
sure.
so you know what I'm talking about. It was like, this is the real deal. This wasn't like a one thing, like pop.
No, no, no. I know. I
So
remember.
he wore my little bottom out, and I still remember it, but I know why he was doing it. And later on in life, I had two daughters, and I didn't spank them very much because I just didn't want to. But there was a time or two where I had to, you know, spank them too, but only because I felt in the same way. It was out of love and trying to teach them something that keep them from getting really hurt. So that was kind of my dad. He was cool. If he was here right now, you'd be asking him a question. He'd be like 3 words maybe, and you're like, oh, okay, is that it? That's it.
Yes, sir. No, I feel you though, right? My dad is a Bible verse that my dad used to quote all the time to us growing up: "Spare the rod, spoil the child." Right? I
Yeah.
think that's in Psalms somewhere, or maybe Proverbs,
Mhm.
probably Proverbs. And I definitely got spanked a lot as a kid. I was pretty I have a lot of energy. I have a lot of energy. I was stubborn growing up. I was kind of
So
rude.
you deserved it,
Oh,
right?
for sure. Oh, for sure. One of the memories I remember. Um, so when we were growing up, I used to drink a lot of water, and I used to like because I drink a lot of water as a kid. I needed to pee a lot, and one time I drank a lot of water. We're coming back home from church, and I take our car keys at the time. They have the house key, and I run into the house, open the door. We lived in an apartment in Grand Prairie at the time, and I actually just drove there on the 31st for the first time in 8 years. But I go inside, I run to the bathroom. Everybody goes inside. We forget about the car keys, right? Because I forgot the car keys outside. So the next day our car is missing, right?
Oh
We
no.
find our car on the news underneath a bridge in Dallas. So we had this
Oh,
old
yeah.
Toyota Sienna. It was red van, and
Mm-hmm.
my parents just, we came to America. We're restarting lives. They were able to buy this van from somebody and whatnot. And my dad was a taxi cab driver at the time, or like a
Oh, cool.
medical driver at the time, just restarting lives, trying to provide for us and whatnot. And oh my goodness, I remember one of those whoopings I got after somebody had stolen our car. So
Well, yeah, I don't know. My dad's the part of me. I'm there's a big part of me is him, and I want to live up to that. I want to make. I still, even though I believe this might sound crazy. Uh, I talk to him. I talk to my dad, and
I don't think that's crazy.
no, I mean, yes, I pray. I pray a lot. Pray all the time. But there are times where I'm just like, Dad, you know, I'm 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 trying my best, or you know, I don't understand this or that, and I don't want to burden my wife with problems. That's part of being. If you love people, you don't you don't want to cry about whatever, because then that becomes their problem. So I just just keep it all to myself. Maybe I am that's a good example of what my dad was like. Keep it to yourself, because sharing it isn't going to help. It's just going to bring everybody else down.
Mm,
So I talk to him sometimes, not always when I'm struggling, but sometimes when I'm really happy too. So
that's good.
and I'll see him again.
Amen.
I
Amen.
will.
See, whenever I hear people talk about like their parents, or even actually as I hear people talk about their parents, I realize how much I'm a watered down version of my parents, and also
Partly, yes.
yeah, partly a watered down version of my parents, but I'm also myself. Then even
Hmm.
then, like, it makes me want to be more intentional with this time I have now, right? I know there's going
Hmm.
to be a future me who's not going to be able to have these moments that I have right now. So I don't know, like, as a, my dad's also like a. My dad doesn't really say much, but when he speaks,
Hmm.
he
Hmm.
speaks. And my dad's he prays a lot. Sometimes if it was like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, you would hear my dad praying right now or something like that.
That's cool.
And he's prayed my whole life. So it's just like there's different aspects of my dad that I am, and there's different aspects of myself that I am, and my mom. So these big influences and their sacrifices just make me
Amen.
want to become me.
Amen. I mentioned we were at the park, and my wife's sitting on a bench, and I'm in the car getting ready, and I'm like, what are we doing? What should I do? But then I see her go like this with her hands, and I know what that means, right? She's praying. So if she wants to sit on a bench in the park and pray, we're gonna be here. So, but it's a beautiful picture, of someone that you love. That's to see them, uh, you know, talk to God. And I know she was expressing her gratitude for a beautiful day. I know how she is and how she prays and everything. Um, so yeah, it's a good thing to whether it's a parent or a spouse. You'll find this out someday. Watching them live out a life of faith inspires you to do the same thing,
Oh, for
right?
sure.
Um, I kind of need that reminder sometimes. So
I think
it's
the reason why I became like serious with my faith or even wanted to know God is because I saw my parents know God. When I was like, I used to pray, God, help me to know you for who you are, not just who my parents know you as, but I want to know you for myself. And that's
Mhm.
truly like my parents are crazy about God. I think I told you this. I'm just a random. So my parents won this thing called the Visa Lottery, which is like a Powerball but for visas, right? So you
Mhm.
have a very low percent chance of winning that $1 million Powerball or whatever, and it's this rare thing. And we got to. They stopped in 2014. We won this thing and we're able to come to America for a better life and better opportunities and all these different things now. So I'm just a random kid and I'm super duper blessed. And I have always seen how God has been. God is the only reason why I'm here. There's
Mhm.
moments in your life that are like definitive, like, okay, this can only be God. And I see that every week.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
what is your earliest memories of God? Like, I know you said, your uncle, preacher at a church,
Right. Yeah.
parents.
My uh, my uh, my dad's first cousin was the preacher at the church I first remember. My dad's brother was also a Methodist minister, and we were when we'd visit with him. Of course, that was part of the life. Was going to church and hearing him preach. My youngest daughter is a church pastor now, which is amazing to listen to her preach. Um, I got saved in a we call it they call it cowboy camp in the Davis Mountains in West Texas. If you've ever been to the Davis Mountains, it's a beautiful place, and it's church camp, and you go and you stay for like a week. Most people have a little cabin and or a RV or something, and then there's church all the time every day. And I was lucky enough to have a friend whose family kind of adopted me into that. We every summer we'd go, and I um, probably was junior high, I guess, and we call it walk the aisle, which when you give your life to Christ, and they have an invitation at the church. You've done this, I think, and I just decided that it's but for me, you're out. This is outdoor. I mean, we have a top. We're sitting underneath this sort of canopy, and but the backdrop of it is the mountains. It's just amazing. And so when you get the call, you feel God tugging on your heart. He's like,
Oh, for sure.
"See those mountains over there?" I did that. God saying I did that. Anyway, for me, I think some of my friends at the time made fun of me because we were just stupid kids. What are you doing? Why are you doing that? I just said, no, I just want to go up there and with some other young people and give my life to God and accept Christ. And uh, it was a beautiful thing, but part of it was sort of what I was supposed to do, because my parents were Christian, my grandparents were Christian, preachers in the family, and all that. It just felt natural because this is what we do.
Oh,
And
for sure.
so, not that I didn't believe, not it was a beautiful experience, but some of it was probably easier for me, maybe, let's say it that way, than someone in another culture or faith background to choose to do something different than mom and dad or grandma and grandpa. So I'm just kind of riding the
The
wave of what they're doing.
standing
Uh,
at the feet of
yeah.
giants.
So but it was real. I mean, later we um, moved into the Baptist tradition, and was baptized by submersion. You know, the same day my oldest daughter was baptized, so it was kind of cool. So I got baptized, some few other people, and my daughter, and so that was pretty cool. But you could, if I think if you want to be real about it, this idea that your faith is some one and done kind of deal is not true. And even in my life, and still today, you're kind of trying to figure this thing out, what's real, what's not. And I don't know about this, I don't know about that. I'm we're we're looking for a new church because we moved, and we're talking about what do we want to do. Well, we've kind of decided maybe the Baptist tradition is not ours. Let's find something else. My wife was raised Catholic. She doesn't want to go back to that. So we have these conversations about what are we looking for in a church, and she's more interested in a kind of what we would call a spirit-filled, charismatic type tradition.
I was raised Pentecostal, so I
Well,
completely understand.
now I've seen some crazy stuff. Okay, I'll go with you to this place, but I ain't going over here. This is like, so and there were times in my life where I just kind of I didn't I didn't curse God, but I wasn't living a godly life at all. And so, I don't want to pretend that I was born a saint and was,
Let's
you
be
know,
honest. I wasn't born a saint either. Like, even as you were saying, like it felt natural, right? I think I told you this in the past. I feel like Christianity or like God just had this tug on me, right? I was born in a
Hmm.
Christian hospital. My dad is a pastor. My grandpa's a pastor. All these
Right.
like Christian traditions. My
Hmm.
grandma she was raised in the Catholic Church and whatnot. And my parents are these like uber Christian people and whatnot. My dad's a pastor of a church and all these things. But even then, like making your own decision for yourself, right? I've gone to the same
Hmm.
church my whole life in America, right? 14 years,
Hmm.
the same church. I did the math. Minimum 20% of my life have been spent in church. 20%,
Uh-huh.
which is genuinely crazy. But even then, like even growing up, I have more church friends than I do have like school friends. And I was just talking to my friend, like we grew up in this rich tradition of not just Christianity, but like our church really values academics, right? I think church is a community and not just like a place you go to on Sundays, right?
Right.
Like
Right.
in Nigerian culture, you call like older people than you uncles and aunties. So
Yeah.
my I don't really have family in America, so my uncles and aunties are these people from this church that I've gone to my whole life. So church is God. Church is a place to go and eat. It's a place to make friends. Church is a place
Hmm.
of like where people guide you, right? I've had these people disciple me my whole life, and I'm I don't think I'm only 21. I don't know how well I'm turning out, but I don't think I'm doing
Yeah.
bad or anything. So I'm only turning out decent because of these amazing people who've constantly poured into me, and not just church, but like adjacent, right? I love
Mhm.
how unapologetic you are, right? You come to class and you be like, yeah, well, you're unapologetic about yourself. I love it.
Well, yeah, a lot of my wisdom has come from mistakes. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. And and so what I want to do is keep people sometimes from making the same mistakes. It's not like
Absolutely.
I did it all right, and the reason I was this or that was because I never, whatever. And so, yeah, no, I mean, we have to be. You have to kind of you have to get to a place where you can really be honest with yourself about your own strengths and weaknesses, right? And for me, for example, I have no patience, none, zero, and so I get irritated easily. I'm like, I don't like this anymore. I want to do this, and I want to quit that and do this. I'm one of these people going back and uh, I'm always wanting to move somewhere else. My wife's like, "Are you serious?" I go in there and goes, "Hey, let's move to, let's go to Miami." And she's just sitting there looking at me like, "What? Why? What are you doing?" I go, "It'd be cool, think about it. The beach, the people, la la la, the music, la la la." She goes, "Okay, are you done?" I go, "Yeah." But if but I did. I changed like jobs. If you went back through my
I
uh,
did. I did. I was gonna ask
yeah,
you questions.
like every couple years, I'm like, okay, this ain't for me. You guys aren't doing me right or whatever. So patience is something I lack, and I pray about that. And I think I've told you before, and I have a pride problem, and God's dealing with me about that, and that's part of my story is this. I don't know. It manifests itself, and pride can be a good thing, but it also can be a problem. It has been.
My friend Jake likes to say that pride is the underlying sin that affects all men. Pride is
Hmm.
thinking too high of yourself, and it's also thinking too low of yourself. So
Hmm.
it's a journey. Again, I think life is a journey of submission, right? I don't
Hmm.
think whenever you turn Christian, it's like, what's all has changed, and like you're this amazing person. No, I'm a sinner going through the sanctification process. The more I follow Jesus, and the more I obedience, right? And it's even a
Right.
struggle, right? I've been Christian my whole life per se, but I still suck.
Well, well, yeah, I don't know. My dad. We go back to my dad. I say he had the same kind of issues with pride, and that's part of the reason I think he wanted to be is a business owner. He had his own business because he had a hard time taking orders from others. And I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, I really don't need y'all to tell me what to do because clearly you're whatever. But and you can be pride can manifest itself in like being too sensitive, like like dude, I wasn't even talking to you. Why are you all mad about it? Like, you were. I know you were.
If the
I
shoe
know you were.
fits, if the shoe fits.
I know you were gonna say you were thinking it. But I pray about those things, and my faith teaches me the Holy Spirit is alive inside of me, but in the craziest way that you can think of. I don't have to listen. Like, you mean the Spirit of God that created the universe is in you, but you can turn him off? Yeah. I'll be like, no,
I'm good.
I got this. So, but that's the if I could, like, do things over again, what would I do? Some things differently? Of course. Let's be honest. Come on now. You wouldn't. Nobody would say.
I used to pray to have a time machine, and I'm only 21, so I think I'm gonna pray for that a little bit more as I grow older. But but it's
So
okay.
what is your weaknesses? What are your weaknesses?
Mm,
You
mm.
don't know yet.
I do know. I'm still
Okay.
figuring it out, but
Okay.
I would say, kind of like you, I do struggle with patience and time. Right?
Oh yeah.
I wrote this down the other. Yeah, my journal's right here. I think a big problem I have at the moment is, I think it's a blessing and a burden, but like I'm self aware, right? I'm so aware of the things happening around me. Okay, for I'll just tell you this for example.
Hmm.
I was just went downstairs to eat before we came on this call, and I was telling
Hmm.
my mom, okay, us being at my parents over provide for us, so I'm very privileged and thankful about that. They make all these sacrifices for us, so they're so what's it called? So there's 6 people in my house right now. My cousin moved in to live with us, and I'm like, okay, I eat for 2 or 3 people. My cousin eats for like 2 people. My mom eats for one person. My dad eats for like 2 people. So like all this food we're making is finishing like this, right? We're cooking for like 20 people, and it's finishing like in 3 days or
Oh
whatever.
my gosh.
So I'm just like, dang, I can only imagine like the money that my parents are paying. Then outside of the money that they're paying inside this house, like they pay for my sister's rents and like our colleges and whatnot.
Oh wow.
So like I'm just like, all this money that they're paying is just, I don't know. I also I have a problem with comparison, maybe envy, but like comparison in the way of like, I see all these things happening around me, so I know it's possible. Then I don't actually go about doing it, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, if we want to go down all the 7 sins, I definitely struggle with all of them. So I
Yeah.
do know that like I do struggle with patience. I personally know that God has me, right? I know that because I'm around these exceptional people, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be great and whatnot. But then it's the journey of like, but even right now, it's hard. Like, I kept on coming to your office to ask you questions about, okay, medicine or no medicine. It's like trying to figure out me, but also like being selfless in this journey. Because I know time is gonna happen anyways. But who do I
Hmm.
want to become? Is this gonna help me become that as fast as possible? Like, I finished college in 2 years, which I don't really recommend for most people. But even then, I realized that like the only reason why I did that is because the only reason I'm able to reap these benefits at the moment is because of the consequences of my actions of the past. Right? I took a lot of
Right.
college classes in high school. Every summer, I don't think I ever had a summer vacation all my life still. Um, but you never summer vacation is not real, but it is real. But I don't think before I speak. It's still something I struggle with. Um, my mom used to say that like, she used to tell me this growing up, like my words have no emotion. And I'm like, no, you're just talking nonsense. I went to college, I dated somebody, and I was like, oh, my words have no emotion. I, it's something I'm working on. I'm trying to be more proactive, but I'm not. I don't always think about how my actions affect other people, right?
There you go.
Even this selfish desire of me wanting to interview you, positive or negative, but like I don't always think about how my actions affect the people around me, and it's. I don't think you're always gonna know, but I'm so aware, but I'm not aware at the exact same time. Like I'm
Um,
oblivious to so much. Kind of, but I think at the end of the day, what you said in the beginning is like, as you grow older, you realize I don't know Jack.
I don't know, Jack. I don't. I got nothing. I got nothing. I do have the wisdom of these mistakes, though. I think that's part of it. But um, in a way, we're shaped. You said this. We're shaped a lot by our parents, our family, and that's a good thing. It's not. It's not to say that I'm incomplete or I'm not really somebody, you know, I'm not my own person. I am my own person, but uh, that's, let's be real. I mean, about, where did all this come from? Where did you think? Where did you start thinking? Your Christian faith, your career path, all this stuff is so much. It was shaped by my people that love me, my parents, my family, and so yeah. I mean, it's everybody wants to be. I want to do my own thing. Like when we were kids, like no, 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 no. I want to be me. I want to do that, and that's normal. That's natural. You and I talked about this. Go for it. Go find out. And maybe you'll come back, and maybe you won't. It doesn't. It's nothing. It's a natural, normal, healthy thing to explore who you are, and you have to just get out there and you know.
I think, for lack of better words, growing up, my parents and our pastor always said like, "Show me your friends, show me your future." The
Mm-hmm.
five closest people to you is like who you become and whatnot. And as I was talking to my friend's grandpa the other day, he was said, "Mitchell, you're very discriminative of who you hang out with," and I think you should be, right?
That's good.
Because show me your friends, show me your future, show me the people like who inspire you, who pour into you, because that's who you are, right?
Right.
Um, our pastor likes to say like people. Our pastor likes to say, if your friends are all thieves, you're the fifth thief, right? If your friends are all doing this, trust you're doing this. And even like as you see habits, like habits are just repeated actions of who you're becoming, right? So if I constantly cuss at people or whatever, I'm a cursor, right? If I
Yeah.
constantly whatever I do repeatedly is who I'm becoming, and I don't know. I want to really focus on who I'm becoming, and I think life is a journey of who you're becoming, and also like this individual, but you compromise with the people around you, right? Like we learn, you're growing older. You're this extremely selfish person. You grow a little bit more, and you start, compromising with people, whether it be marriage, whether it be with your family. You realize, okay, whoa, I'm still selfish as heck, but I have to compromise because it's not just about me. And I think that's
Right.
what, like, as I talk to more parents, something I really wanted to do this year is interview, just have more conversations with people who inspire me, but
Hmm.
also like just talk to way more people older than me. But as you talk to parents, you realize as a parent, you can't be as selfish as you were back then. If I don't work, if I don't provide food, this child will die. Like, so it's not about me anymore. So there's life defining moments that stop us thinking, okay, whoa, it's not just about me. It's not just about what I want. It's not just what I want to do. So
Right.
at the moment, I can be selfish. It's a little, I could be way more
Yeah.
selfish at this stage of life than I can be whenever I'm 35 because I don't have any responsibilities. So
Right. Right.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so jobs. I really don't care about. I mean, okay, I don't find education as important as I probably should. But
Hmm.
even then, I do think education is something that opens doors that allow you to, use your natural inclinations to shine, right? You were
Hmm.
saying that, like, you hop from job to job. I'm looking at your LinkedIn here and, like, the
Hmm.
job to job to job to job. What was one of your first jobs that you, like, actively remember that, like, pivoted you to go on this journey? Then, even after that, I'll actually just save this question for later then.
What was the first job?
Yeah, what was the first job you had that, like, put you on this path?
Well, probably my first, I would say, uh, big break. A lot of there's some things on it I didn't put the first maybe 5 years of my work experience on my resume. I worked in banks. I was a stockbroker. I bounced around working for my dad, and I think those were good things to kind of do that to find out. My big break was going to work for the Texas Tech Health Sciences Center, and what got me in the door was my accounting work experience with my dad. And so I was managing the revenue cycle for the Health Sciences Center, and then I got promoted from a smaller campus to the main campus, and that really set me off. I was there, I think, 5 years, and I helped my sister get a job there, and she ended up retiring from there.
Wow.
But that was really the first uh, I think that was the big break. And as a Texas Tech employee, a lot of my graduate school was paid for. So I went back and got my MBA while I was at Tech, working for Tech, from Tech, and that MBA really opened the doors. So Tech, Texas Tech, which that's my undergrad and graduate degrees, and my employer really. Um, I mean, that was the beginning. So once I had the MBA, once I had the 5 year work experience, the track record, the references, then everything else just kind of came after that. The first one is the hardest one. I'm not saying the first job, because that wasn't my first job. The first real job like that then puts you on a track to get you, in these larger roles. But yeah, it was, and it was definitely, what do I want to say? It was luck and God. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. I
It
think
got me. But I was thinking about you, and trying to anticipate what we're going to talk about. How God works, I think sometimes, maybe a lot of times, is you, and you can read about this in the Bible too, of course, is you find favor with someone, right? So I might be the might be all that, but I'm stuck. Why? Because this moment that, until somebody somewhere, usually a little bit older, somebody more senior, you find favor. It's not that you're all that. It's just something in you connects with them, and they sort of take you under their wing. And I was blessed, over and over again, thinking back on my career, where more senior leaders, for whatever reason, I found favor with them, and then they took me under their wing, and that's both an expression of protection, but it's also a promotion and learning in those things. In a corporate environment, it's a dangerous place, politically. There's a lot of nonsense that goes on. The competition is fierce. If you can find favor with someone in authority, um, that's the key. Again, it's not your resume, it's not your GPA, and it's a connection of character. Maybe that's a good way to say it. If somebody sees something in you that says, I know you're just a dumbass, but there's something about you that, if you'll trust me, I can teach you, and will take you where I know you can go. There may be 10 other people standing there, and you got nothing on them except something in your heart, something about you. I taught professional development. It's a chemistry. There's something about that person. Well, is it the loudest person? No. Is it one that won't shut up? No. Is it the shy person? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What's going on? Come here. What you see these? You see some of my students. They won't say two words, but I see something. I'm like, and you see me kind of walking around talking to people. I like to do that. See if I can get them to kind of just look at me for a second. What's going on? Whatever. And some of the people you fall in love with the most are shy. They're insecure. They don't think they belong here. They don't think they deserve anything. You're like, what? You're perfect. you know and so something about that is and I think there's something spiritual there too. Is you may think, and you may be on paper the best, but you ain't gonna get it, because you're not ready. And maybe God knows you're not ready. um, so it's about preparation. I think I heard a sermon about this recently. It's about, you're going through the season of preparation, you know um, and then somehow, someday, maybe it was the story of Esther in the Bible I was hearing a sermon about. Somewhere along the way, somebody in a position of some importance, some power, you find favor with them, and then like Joseph, the story of Joseph, it just
I
repeats
was
itself.
literally just about to say that yesterday.
So anyway, go ahead. That's my story. Is the Joseph kind of story of, yeah, all that happened, all that happened, all that happened, but then somehow, somewhere, out of nowhere, somebody said, "Hey, come here, sit down." Might be something as simple as you go into a meeting, and somebody says, "Hey, come sit over here by me," and you're like, "Me? Yeah, come here, sit over here." Really? And so, and then you start to understand it. Then your job is just to be this kind of this loyal uh, helper for that person, and help them be successful so they can help you be successful. And as they rise, you rise with them. And that's been a pattern that's repeated for me over and over. A lot of my resume is, if there was a way to do it, there are the same players in these different jobs. So you think there's some inconsistency there. Well, you were here, and then you were here, and you were here, and you're here, and you're like, wait a minute. It wasn't just me. It was me and three other people. It was four of us. We were here, then we were here, then we were here, and then we were here. As we rise, the 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 leader, if you will, of our little pack was promoted up at another job. First thing he or she does is pick up the phone and call us. Let's get the
Yeah,
band
my
back together.
guys, my
Yeah.
guys.
Let's get the band back together, and I got promoted up. If you'll come over here, I'll promote you. And it, and that kind of thing. How's that work? But I guess the important thing I'd want to say there, and circle back to, is this notion that God is God uses other people to bless us, right? And when you can find favor, it's not something you make an effort to do. Hey, do you like me? Do you like me? Do you like me? You just, it's a God thing. You just do you, and at some point, that person will reach out to you, not the other way around. And whether it doesn't have to be a job, it could be a coach, could be a teacher,
Yeah,
just could be a mentor, could be any. But those relationships is what really drive a career. If you think of career as a track of promotion, right? More dollars, higher position, more authority, and things like that. So, um, and just kind of close my eyes and see the faces of older gentlemen who I owe a lot to, who were that, who who took me under their wing. I don't know what a better way to say it, and just said, "Hey, stay close to me when we go through this, when we walk in this room, when we go into this meeting, you know." And then this thing that you mentioned, which is so important, self-awareness. And I wasn't very self-aware, still not, but you learn to watch what for this kind of cues and things. And I think I did a little bit of this in my class one time with y'all. I'm like, after y'all were
yeah. You told us to
giving,
shut up.
yeah, y'all were answering every question. You're like, so. But you learn those, nonverbal things, and you're watching, and there's just an awareness of what's going on in the room, and when to talk and when to shut up, and keeping one eye on that person that you work for, and they'll get you through, and who knows how many times, they took a bullet for me, saying, "No, don't touch my guy, don't mess, don't, no, we're not going to do that." And I never knew, right? So because I did that for my people, it's like, no, no. Somebody say, start talking about one of my team members, and no, we're not. Shut up. Yeah, but he's not this or she's not that. Yeah, you ain't either. So bye. That's the other part. The fun part of this career story is team sport. It's not an individual thing. And so when one does good, everybody does good. When one gets promoted, we all celebrate, and that makes it a lot better. If you try to do it all solo, you're not going to get very far.
Yeah,
It'd be like, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't figure it out till later on, but that's again where patience comes in, and I didn't have it. Is if you would just in the self awareness that you lack, that there's people in this room, and I'm not looking at or listening to or watching for the right things. My eyes aren't on the right people. In corporate America, oftentimes the person that's not talking is the one you need to be paying attention to, because they have the ear of, um, who's the king listening to, is the person you need to watch. Is that's the one, you need to begin to identify and recognize for who they are. Why is this person sitting next to the senior VP? They never say anything. Every once in a while, though, they'll lean over and whisper something. It's like, what's going on here? What's going on here? And those kinds of dynamics and that awareness. Read the room. They say, read the room. People are looking at the wrong things. They're listening at the wrong things. They're speaking at the wrong time, and it's just something you kind of, you figure out the right. You just, if you can find a role model, do what they do. In many cases, an older, more seasoned person, but yeah, that was God's gift to me has always been, um, this finding favor part of it. But I also think too, I was given the gift of discernment, right? That's a gift I have, discernment. I didn't realize that until I got older. But I can tell people, I can read people real fast. I've read you real fast. I like you. He's good. He's got a good heart. This is a good person, or you could take that same gift of discernment to be like, yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we ain't gonna work it.
no, that ain't gonna work. We need to, back up, step back, something. And so, maybe part of that's because I had daughters and these guys coming around like, not you, not you, not you, not you. Uh, but that I think seriously though, that's a gift. God has gifted me with this gift of discernment to and it's not always a good thing. My wife and I just left the store, and I'm crazy, I know, but I don't let my wife go shopping by herself. I don't. Rarely. I'm there. I'm like a bodyguard. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "No, it's okay." I'm serious.
You gotta protect the president.
I'm like, "Who's that? What's that guy doing over there? What's that guy? Who is that guy? What are you doing over there? You need to back up. Step what? I'm. Maybe it's a bit of a curse, but I've got my eyes on people all the time as the
It's a blessing
protector.
and a burden.
Yeah, I'm the protector, and I see that character over there. You ain't shopping for women's clothes. What are you doing? Get out of here. And but so in a sense though, in a positive way, it's been a blessing because it's allowed me to connect to these people in this notion of discernment and favor, right? I'm discerning someone who has a general interest in me, not doesn't want anything from me, just um, something about me that has connected with them, right? I was a stockbroker for a short period of time as a very young man, um, and I was taught that the only way to sell is sell this way, and I couldn't do it their way, right? Which is whatever, what you would expect it to be. A numbers game. You're just talking, throw it out there 100 times, and if you get one guy or girl, you're
A
in,
hook.
right? Huh?
It's a fishing rod, right? You throw the hook. You
Yeah.
want it. Yeah.
No, but mine was and I found out, I learned a lot about myself in doing that. I made a connection with a very wealthy individual, and they're all like, "What? I called him 10 times. What? I'm like, well, whatever. No, you can't have him he can't be your client. I called him before. I'm like, no. he asked me to come to his office. I went, sat down, talked to him. I'm like a 24-year-old guy, green as grass as a stockbroker, and this uh, gentleman who was very wealthy. I don't know how old he was. At that time, I thought he was like old. And he just decided that he trusted me. He liked me. He trusted me. And he wanted me to help him, manage his money a little bit. And no, all these guys that I worked with at Merrill Lynch at the time were like, "What? That's just crazy. Oh, you're just lucky. You just happened to be there when he called." I go, "No, that's true. But I went to his office and there's something that happened. And it wasn't me doing all the talking, like y'all won't shut up." So anyway, it's this notion of connection, um, and something in a person. Hopefully, God has put something in me, my parents, my family, and others see something of value there. You're special, and you're special for sure, right? You are, seriously. But I like to think there's something special about me. But it doesn't. Special doesn't mean Hollywood.
Oh, for
Special
sure.
doesn't mean loud. Special doesn't mean you know in the front shouting. Special can be a very humble, quiet individual sitting over in a corner, and you're like, "Hey, what's that guy doing? And why is he smiling?" So I don't know. I hijacked your stuff, but
No, no, no. This is what this is about, though. Like,
oh, okay, all right. What else you want to? You
like,
got?
so my goal of this again is just to have just a raw conversation and give people spaces to share their story or whatever's on their
Hmm.
heart. Another
Hmm.
thing that's on my mind is fatherhood, right? I think in a state of where a man is becoming, right? At least in your journey, right? You're a father. Then now in this stage of your life, you're a grandfather. The first stage
Hmm.
of your life, you're a son. Then next, you're a boyfriend, and you're a fiance, then you're a
Hmm.
husband, and
Right.
we're all these encompassing roles, and it's like, how can we be this? So like I think everybody struggles in this, but as a male, I'm only going to focus on males. Men
Right.
struggle to be physically there, financially, like they struggle in these aspects, physically, finance. There's these five aspects I think are very important, and
Hmm.
I rarely see men who are really good at three. Right, two is normal, three, four is exceptional, five is I have not really seen much yet. So financially, emotionally, spiritually, wait, okay, financially, emotionally, physically. I think I wrote this down somewhere. Financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually. I can't really remember at the moment, but financially is one of them, emotionally is one of them, spiritually is one of them, and there's two other things I can't really think about at the moment. But
Hmm.
I see men really good in one aspect, but then they struggle in other aspects, right? Like I'll
Hmm.
see uh, yeah, I'll see men provide financially but struggle to be there emotionally for their children, their spouse, right? I'll see men be spiritually sound and whatnot, but like spiritually sound is like reading the Bible or praying or whatever, but then they're struggling financially or they're struggling, emotionally. I think to be whole is to embrace all these emotions, and we're in this journey of becoming, right? I don't think everybody's going to be great at one thing, right? Not everybody's meant to make billions of dollars, and even if you want billions of dollars, I don't even think it's worth it, right? So
Hmm.
example, Elon Musk I think is going to be the first trillionaire, but I wouldn't want his life, right? He's had like three or four divorces, has like 11 children. Even if the kids have money because their dad is rich, I think there's a role in fatherhood that needs to be available, right? I believe in the nuclear family. So yeah, just some thoughts on my mind. But I really want to focus on like you as a father, right? Okay, you have these daughters, right? You said, okay, not that guy, not this guy. What was that like whenever your I guess this was coming to my mind, but what was that like whenever your daughters were like, "This is a guy I want to marry"? Do you remember those conversations?
Yeah. You know, fatherhood is like chapters in a book, right? When your kids are babies, when they're toddlers, when they're children, when they're preteen, when they're teenagers, when they go to college, when they're young adults, when they're married, it's all a chapter in a book, and it's so it's a little bit different, right? You don't parent a 38-year-old the way you do a 6-year-old or a 4-year-old, and they're not going to listen to you anyway, so it doesn't matter. But you can try, and so it's not a one thing. It's a job description that changes given time, and when they're little and they're totally dependent on you, right, for everything, not just food and clothing and protection and all that, but for love and affection and those kinds of things. That's a precious time. It doesn't last very long. Most people don't realize that. They get to be about 6 years old, and it changes because their eyes look out away from you and not at you anymore, right? In the beginning, they're at you or grandma or mom or whatever, and so it's different depending on these stages of life and things like that. But um, I don't know. I'm you better make sure you better, I can. My daughter, when she was 4, was really sick, was in the hospital, had surgery. We didn't know what was going to happen to her. And it was the worst, worst, worst. Thank God it turned out okay. She had successful surgery on her leg, but there was a period of a couple of weeks in the last couple of days, the night, the day of the surgery, the recovery, and waiting for the surgeon to come and tell you that what they found was benign, and it was just the worst ever. My wife slept at the hospital with our daughter, and I stayed at home. I don't think I slept at all. I just prayed literally on my knees by the bed, God, please save my baby, save my baby, save my baby. So I think when you aging, switching around a little bit, you don't age linearly. Like here's me as a baby, here's me as an old man. It's a straight line. Aging is sometimes it's these traumatic events that just take. I mean, you just age. You can see people, dude. You look like you aged 5 years in a month. Yeah, you don't know. You want to know what I've been through? Oh,
Yeah.
okay, got it. And nothing. You can't. I mean, I don't know I don't know what this will sound like. You cannot hurt me. You cannot hurt me. I've had everything done to me, lied to, stabbed in the back, kicked around, beat up, whatever. I don't care. The only way you can hurt me, and the devil knows this, is to hurt
My
someone I love.
family. Yeah.
And so the devil will go after my children or whatever, or seeing them. It doesn't have to be the devil. It'll just be watching us go through life together. So those kinds of experiences will either make you or break you as a father, and you don't know because you think you got it together, and then here comes the storm, and when the
Mm.
storm hits, and you're like going, I didn't sign up for this. This is crazy. And then you'll either, like sadly so many fathers, they just bolt. I'm not here for that. I have a gosh, I don't know. I have a nephew whose son has some challenges, Down syndrome kind of situation that's really blown up their marriage, and things like that. So if you're not locked and loaded, it doesn't matter really, because it's not a trip to the Disneyland or whatever that defines your your role as a father. How many times did we go to Disneyland, or you never took me on a cruise, or whatever. It's that, where were you when I was sick? My daughter was bullied in school as I don't know what she was, elementary school, fifth, sixth grade, I can't remember. And I'm like, no. So I go up to the school, talk to the teacher, and it got to where the teacher saw me coming. I could see his eyes. He was like going, oh crap, here he comes again. I'm like, we're not going to do this. My daughter's coming home. Girls in that class are bullying her, making her cry, upsetting her. It's your class. They're your students. What are you going to do about it? He's like, whoa. I'm like, okay, well, I'll be back. Ain't going away. I went up to one of my daughters after she got older. I guess she was out of college, moved back home for a little while, went to work somewhere, and then she got to tell me her boss made her uncomfortable. He was kind of a little bit flirty and this and that. Well, she told me about it a couple times. So I get in the car and go drive down
Go
there.
work.
Here we go. I'm like, hey, what's up with that? What are you talking about? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. We gonna do this? You ain't gonna do this. So what are we gonna do? Because I'm here and we can rodeo or and I think back on some of that stuff, chasing guys off the front porch, knocking on the door late. I like, what are you doing here? Oh, I want to see your daughter. No, get out of here. Don't come back. Whatever. But those are maybe in a way, maybe being a father in those examples is easy. It's just being a man. Just say,
Mm,
you ain't gonna mess with mine. But maybe sometimes more importantly, they need somebody to sit and talk to them and listen to them. And hopefully, I don't know if I was good at that or not, but I mean, I still have my girls in my life, and you'd have to ask them. But their mom kind of just what raised. We lived in the same house, all four of us, two daughters and my wife and I. My wife was the disciplinarian. She didn't put up with anything. Not, and this is a Mexican woman. And, if you know their tradition and their culture, you don't spend the night. Period. And they're like, "Mom, everybody spend the night. Everybody spend." No, we're not going to do that. You're not going to go over there. I don't know who's over there. Brothers, uncles, dads, uncle, whatever. No. Come on, come on. No. We're gonna. It's Halloween. We want to do Halloween. No, we're gonna do Halloween. What do you mean we're not gonna do it? Everybody's doing Halloween. No, that's the occult. That's the devil. They're like, Mom, really? You're not gonna let me go to the party? You're not gonna let me dress up? You're not gonna let me trick or treat? You can trick or treat, but you can't wear that. So, and she whipped them a lot. So in a way, I kind of got off easy because she was the one whooping their butt and doing all the rules making. But it does test a man, I think. But at the end of the day, when it's all, you have to ask the child, what kind of a dad did you have? You can't ask me what kind of dad I was. I don't know.
absolutely. I'll figure a way to connect with your daughters and ask them questions.
So I don't know how to answer that, but I wouldn't get, I would think long and hard before I got married and had kids, because I mean, our oldest daughter is now twice divorced, and it's the most painful experience I've ever lived through. It's horrible, and it's just awful on so many levels. And so I would tell every young man, if you were my son, if you think about getting married, you better be really, really sure, and whatever that means, however long that takes. And if you do get married, you might want to wait a little while. You don't pop out any kids like week one, kind of thing, to see how all this goes. Because sadly, in this world, that's so, whatever the divorce rate is so high, and it's so hard to parent. But it's the greatest joy of my life, and now I get to do it with grandkids. But um, a, a a good dad is somebody who's there, right? Who shows up. They might not do it right. They might mess it up, but they care enough to be there. I'm there. I'm sitting at the table. I'm talking to you. I'm tucking you in the bed at night. I'm praying with you. You know, when if they were to ever to ask me for advice, I try to tell them what I thought was really the honest truth about things. But it's, and you're where you are now. Like, you might go in today and say, "I found this girl I want to get married," and your parents are like, "Oh my God, what are you talking about?" And you're like, "Yeah, no, it's all good, it's all good." You go, "Sit down and talk." No, I don't got time for that. So, um,
Now,
it does.
my mom has drilled in my head that at least my mom and dad are, after God, the most important thing is who you marry, right? And also, my mom is like, marriage is not just about love, and marriage is not just about you. It's always about like it's also about, the person's going to be a father. You're going to, at least in my case, the person's going to be the mother to your children. In my sister's case, this person's going to be a father to your children. My mom was about like blood test, DNA, genetics, this and that. We're not playing about that.
Right.
And I am nowhere close to getting married. I even told myself this year, like, I'm open to it, but at the same time, like, I don't plan on dating anybody for the next 2 to 3 years. But
Well, don't say that. You should definitely date.
I mean,
But
I
how you
just don't want to
have.
waste somebody's time. But also,
Mhm.
I'm in this journey of becoming. But I'm open, right? But I'm not seeking. A lot of my friends, every time we talk, it's just always about some random girl. Like, and it's like, okay, I personally think some my friends are pretty mature, but even in our maturity, we lack a lot of maturity. So it's this story of becoming, and I do think you need experiences to
Mhm.
shape that. So yes, you should date, and yes, you should experience these things. But I think this is, I think in Christianity, how we date to marry is a good thing, but also
Mhm.
I think it's very dangerous because as we're dating to marry, we're we're unintentionally crossing these emotional stuff, right?
Mhm.
We're breaking emotional boundaries without realizing it. I want to treat you like my husband. I want to treat you like my wife, right? We're not under covenant and all these things, and we're crossing these boundaries unintentionally, which is not a bad thing, but then it can cause a lot of problems without us realizing it. So I think you have to be very, very careful with who you open up your heart with, how you open up your heart with, and yeah, I don't know
Well,
though.
you have to know. I mean, you have to have some sense of who you are,
Oh,
right?
for
And
sure.
we don't know that. We don't know that at 14. We don't know that at 18. We might not even know that at 35.
I was
We're
about to say
still
the
kind
same
of
thing.
discovering. So if you're not sure of who you are, doesn't mean that's not a career thing. It's not a job thing. It's just who am I as a person. Um, then it'd be really be hard to be a good partner, right? The other thing that I would tell people, if you're not happy, getting married is not going to make you happy. It
Facts.
might make, if you're happy, it might make you happier. But if you're not happy, getting married is not going to make you happy. Having kids is not going to make you happy, right? And so, yeah, I don't know. That's something to think about. I would say,
No,
are you
I agree.
if you got to kind of know who you are, have some pretty good idea of it. Are you in a good place? Are you happy? Are you bringing this happiness with you? Or are you looking for someone to fill this emptiness? That's not love. I'm sad. Your job's to make me happy.
That's not
No.
love. You don't want to love. You just want that person to. I don't know. The more I talk to, I talk to people a lot, right? That's probably my
Uh-huh.
biggest hobby or the thing that brings me
Oh
joy.
gosh. Uh-huh.
And the more I talk to people, it's just like, well, I, I may not realize the effects right now, but I do know, like, as I keep growing, there's going to be words of wisdoms that they've said to me in the past. It's going to be like, oh, okay, so that's what this is, and that's how this is affecting it. So
Right.
it's just, I've heard these things at Jason, right? Like, if you're not happy with yourself, if you don't love yourself, if you don't like know yourself, um, you're not going to be happy with someone else, right? It's,
Right.
and I don't know. Sometimes I talk to when I was in OU, a lot of my friends were like girls, these Christian girls and whatnot, and the way they kind of talk about like marriage and love is genuinely terrifying, because like it kind of sounds like they think that marriage is going to solve their problems and make them happy and whatnot. But I don't know. I think I'm a little mean in the fact of like, I think Christians do too much in wanting to get married. We're also focused on this like marriage, marriage, marriage. But bro, who are you? Like, what about dating? Like,
Mhm.
oh, my husband, this and that. Like,
Right.
dog, I'm not a big fan of young marriages. At least, just I don't know.
Well, it's I told you this before. There's no shortcuts in life, so you just have to get out there. But that said, God's plan, I think, for us, and this is maybe how Christians sometimes get in a little bit of trouble, is for you to live life in community, live life in with a family, live, not just you doing you. You doing you is fine for a little bit, but God's like, okay, what is it? What is this? This is going to be you, the whole thing. So, um, but it's some days are just really hard, and you think I don't think I want to do this anymore, and then the next day is like, oh, this is the best, it's it's life is the journey is so hard if you do it. The living right, living for God is hard. When did Jesus say, "Follow me, and your life will be easy"?
Absolutely not.
and
Jesus
I,
said
and
they
you,
would hate me. They would hate you.
if you sign up for this, you'll have no problems. Well, nobody ever said that. So, like I mentioned earlier, loving people exposes you to more hurt, right, from the world, from whatever. And so, and I think sometimes Christians make the mistake of saying, well, things don't really feel right, and I'm not really happy, and God wants me to be happy, so something's wrong. I need to do something different. Maybe the answer is no. You need to fix your attitude and think about what part of this you're you maybe you're my wife would say I'm contributing to the problem more than I'm fixing the problem, whatever that looks like. But um, yeah, I don't know. At the end of the day, we'll be judged by the people that we affected, not bank accounts or anything like that. So you have to ask my children, my grandchildren, my wife, my mother about me to then decide if there was value there, not just some story or something that I would tell. But um, the other thing, and it's all simple common sense stuff. I really believe there's two kinds of people in this world. There's takers and there's givers. It's as
Mm.
simple as that. And if you're a giver and you end up partnered with a taker, they're going to take you for all you're worth until you got nothing left, and then they're going to toss you out and find somebody else. But I saw that in my daughter. She married these two guys who were takers, and she's a giver, right? And
Mm.
givers give more and
All
more, all of themselves, and then blame themselves, right?
for the taking that's
Yeah,
happening.
right.
Yeah.
My husband is unhappy, must be my fault. No, your husband's uh, your husband is manipulating you, using you, blaming you, playing this game with you. But it's really, I mean, that's as simple I think as life is. Life's not complicated. Life's very simple. It's not easy, but it's very simple. Givers and takers. When you choose a partner, if you are a taker, if you are one, you're not going to admit it, right? But if you're that person, and Jesus teaches us, love is sacrificial. So you're not giving up anything. What do you're in this relationship and you say you love somebody. What sacrifices have you made? Oh, that's not how it works. Yes, it is how it works. That's exactly how it works. Well, I want to do my thing with my friends and whatever, spend the money on things that I want, whatever, what did you give up? And Christians, I heard this sermon one time. Well, if your faith hasn't cost you anything, it's not worth anything, right? So
Mm.
you basically got saved, and you're still running with the same crowd, watching the same movies, telling the same dirty jokes, whatever, smoking a little weed, drinking a little this. Your life ain't changed at all. So, uh, but again, I guess let's sort of run out of wisdom. I do think life is very simple. There's takers and there's givers. And if your child or you yourself want to be happy, do not, if if you decide to partner up with marry somebody, let's be honest about what your motives are and what theirs is, because you're screwed from the start if you're partnered with the wrong kind of person. And it's kind of an energy thing, right? I'm just constantly sucking life out of you. Entertain me, give
Parasitic.
me, make me happy, comfort me, entertain me, and you're not doing it right. You're like, well, how's this my job? But I don't know. What else can you think of?
No, no, no. This is great. I'm taking
I'm,
notes as you
I'm,
speak.
I'm exposing the truth of what I started with. I don't know anything. I just say I never claimed to know anything. It's a disclaimer. I
Oh, for
never
sure. Oh,
said
for
I knew
sure. Oh, for
anything.
sure. Oh, for sure. I
All
think
right, brother.
we learn through our experiences. I'm just taking
Yeah.
notes, and it's having me think as we talk. But yeah, I appreciate this. I appreciate
Oh,
this a
well,
lot.
I hope there's something good in it. I genuinely care about you. And if there's anything I've ever said or could say to encourage you, I want to do that. There's goodness in you. It's not about MD, PhD.
Not one
What is
bit.
this? It's just about you, right? It's about you, that person that you have the potential to become who you already are, right? That special person that you already are, that capacity to love and be loved, right? To see somebody uh, walking around that needs you, right? Not as a buddy, not as a party buddy, but somebody over there. Wait a minute. Then the spirit tugs at you a little bit. What's up? Why is that person, you know, moving a little bit slower, carrying a little bit heavy load, kind of, bent over a little bit, looking down at the ground? What's that all about? Well, if your heart's good, and I know yours is, that's the spirit. You know, open the eyes of my heart, Lord, is a beautiful song, but it's truth. Open the eyes of my heart to what? To who I can serve, who I can comfort, who I can help. It ain't the rich bitch that's got, that that wants to hook up. It's that. It's that. Particularly if you end up in healthcare, and I hope you do. Man, there's so many people that need help. They're hurting, they're lonely, they're scared, and your job is the same as mine, which is if I can do it, I'm going to help them. And y'all go on and do whatever y'all going to do. I got something more important I'm going to do here. I'm going to lift somebody up. You could be a you could be a counselor, you could be a chaplain, you could be a preacher, you could be anything. You could be a surgeon, you could be anything. You could run a nonprofit. You know, there's 1,000 million things to do, but they all come back to the same calling from the Lord, which is to serve others, serve God by serving His children. So, what does that look like? Well, for you, it might look completely different, but at the end of the day, it comes back to, well, I'm helping um, elderly people lonely in a nursing home, or I'm helping young children with a learning disability, or I'm whatever it is. God gifts us differently, but calls us to the same ministry, which is ministry of service to others. Serve God by serving His children. Right.
Absolutely.
All right,
Absolutely.
brother. Okay.
Absolutely.
God bless.
Thank you